New month, new opportunities, and the move forward continues. That move for us today is being facilitated by the JUTC via the Maypen to Williamsfield leg of Highway 2000. Intrigued? We'll share all the developments happening in those areas. I'm Theodore Henry. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine.
Jamaica's COVID-19 vaccination plan is still in effect. If you wish to make an appointment, please do so online by visiting moh.gov.jm or by calling 888-663-5683. Vaccination still a keep. Go get your jab today.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, February 2. Government is moving to increase the number of licensed private electrical inspectors available to members of the public, with the Government Electrical Regulator, GER, now being fully operationalized. The new body became operational on November 1, 2021, and replaces the Government Electrical Inspectorate. The GER is now mandated to regulate the sector and is no longer responsible for electrical inspections. During yesterday's sitting of Parliament, Energy Minister Darrell Vaz said the drive to increase the number of inspectors would create increased competition while reducing the cost for electrical services.
One of the benefits of the new system is the ongoing examinations for electricians. Examinations are held quarterly, with the most recent one being held on January 19th and 20th, 2022, which was done both in written and practical formats.
Minister Vaz says the move has already seen an increase in electrical inspectors from 16 to 61. He says 35,000 inspections are expected to be carried out annually. The Energy Minister also revealed that 117 applications for inspectors have been approved, with 55 inspectors scheduled to receive their public liability insurance and another 21 applications recommended for approval. The government continues to strengthen and modernize legislation to combat money laundering and terrorist financing. On Friday, members of the Senate approved the Terrorism Prevention Designated Reporting Entity Trust and Corporate Services Providers Order 2022. It aims to strengthen the country's financial and non-financial systems, making them more robust and transparent. Leader of Government Business Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith says it also signals Jamaica's compliance with international obligations and practices. She explains that the problem of money laundering and terrorist financing cuts across borders as criminals exploit loopholes in domestic systems.
So strengthening our frameworks to protect and prevent these activities therefore plays the dual process or dual purpose of protecting us nationally and ensuring that we play our part in the global fight against these scourges.
Money laundering is essentially the process of hiding the illegal origins of funds, while terrorist financing is the gathering or provision of funds for terrorist purposes. Residents of Pembroke Hall now have access to a new Restorative Justice Center, the 8th such standalone facility on the island. The center, which was opened yesterday, is designed to deal with matters related to child diversion, restorative justice, and dispute resolution, among other issues. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says these restorative justice centers will help to reduce the number of cases that go before the courts.
So the courts cannot respond in a timely manner because they have so many cases coming there. And you will understand it is a cycle, a circle. People can't get things done, so they don't go to the court. When they go to the court, they wait forever. And that is why the need for alternative dispute resolution is so urgent.
Member of Parliament for St. Andrew Northwestern and Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark describes the Justice Restorative Centres as an economically feasible way of solving disputes.
From my experience as a Member of Parliament, this is an absolutely necessary function. Too often we see disputes that lead to violence, and disputes that lead to violence that causes death, homicides, and murders. arising from disputes within families, disputes within communities, disputes between neighboring communities.
There are now 18 justice centers island-wide, of which 8 offer only restorative justice services. Greenwich Farm is expected to benefit from the next restorative justice center in March. Research and development to ensure a resilient and sustainable sector is among the strategic priorities of the new Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries. Minister Pernell Charles Jr. made the disclosure at a recent JIS think tank.
When you look on the strategies to boost production and productivity, and when you put it in context of the limited space that we have in terms of our land, but the natural assets that we have in our country, enhancing research will allow for us to improve productivity, to reduce waste, to optimize how we operate.
One of the key initiatives being pursued is the redevelopment of research stations projects, which involves rehabilitation and upgrading of the Bodles Research Center into a center of excellence. The first phase of the initiative, valued at $800 million, began in 2018 and will run until 2023. Up to December 2021, a sum of $766.4 million has been spent under the project. 125 primary health care facilities across the island are earmarked for improvement under the first phase of government's primary health care model for renewal and rebuilding. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says reviews have already started on some infrastructure and buildings under the IDB-funded program. 10 healthcare centers are to be overhauled or newly built.
We have about 325, so we'll take it in phases. But it's going to be a significant shift. Now, the planning started before COVID, but COVID has hastened those plans. COVID has made those plans more relevant.
Dr. Tufton was speaking recently at the handover and official opening of the St. Anne's Bay Health Center, which was renovated to make it climate resilient.
Features around resilience are going to be emphasized, whether it is the provision of water or it is other features that will ensure that it withstands the risks that we are all exposed to in these environments.
Under the new primary healthcare model, Minister Tufton says training will be undertaken and more doctors and nurses added to provide preventative and curative healthcare services. This is expected to prevent overcrowding at hospitals. And finally, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation will be embarking on an initiative dubbed Project Shelter. Project Shelter is an acronym for savings, housing, employment, land titling, training, economic recovery, and repairs to homes. Newly appointed Minister without portfolio in the ministry, Robert Montague, says the project will cover housing, land, and urban renewal. Special national projects such as the Vernon Field Economic Zone and the Gisco Industrial Economic Zone have also been incorporated into the program. To bolster Project Shelter, Minister Montague says greater focus will be placed on certifying skilled workers, particularly for the construction industry. He asserts that there's a growing concern of insufficient numbers of skilled employees in the sector, which has implications for the state's housing, infrastructure growth, and urban renewal agenda.
Training is of particular interest to this government and is a part of our thrust to ensure that our young persons are not only trained but certified, and the emphasis will be on the construction skills, masonry, carpentry, plumbing, electrical installation.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Transforming the landscape one leg at a time. Winding, wrapping, reaching, and hugging the contours of some of our highest points, this is Highway 2000.
Highway 2000 is a major infrastructure program for Jamaica that NROC oversees. We started out as far back as 1999, where we had phase 1, Initially, that ended at Sandy Bay. Then we added one another phase called Phase 1B, which ended at Maypen Roundabout. We were engaged also in Phase 2, which started from Caymanas in St. Catherine and ended at Miami Bay in Ocherius. That is what we call Phase 2A. Additional phases now includes Phase 1C, which starts at Maypen Roundabout and ends at Williamsfield. There are other phases in the pipeline for the future, which will see what we call Phase 2B, starting at Williamsfield and ending somewhere around in Montego Bay. And that is our long-term plan, as well as the linkages with the upcoming Montego Bay Perimeter Road, and then that would be our major Highway 2000 project. This part is $188 million US for the construction of the highway. The project is being done with China Harbour and the government of Jamaica through the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. And NROC is the implementing agency. So we engage the contractor on a daily basis as to the project's overall implementation. So we have all the necessary oversights for quality, safety, and construction management representing the government. And as such, our role is very specific to ensure that the construction is done on time, with quality, and within the budget. And our expectation is that our contractor will cooperate based on the contract arrangement to complete the project in the time specified, which is October 2022.
The project is a 3-year project. It started in 2019 and it will end in 2022, October. Currently, we're about 22% complete. We measure our completion by the amount of money expended, not by the amount of time that's elapsed. However, we've only paid the contractor about 20-something% worth of the monies. Now, most of the work he's done so far is moving fill. So we haven't gotten to the high value items, for instance. Now we're doing the bridges and so forth. There's a lot of concrete work. And so therefore, the value of the works are going to go up significantly.
The Romina is one of the largest rivers in Jamaica, and it is very flood prone. So in fact, the bridge that we're building is actually the longest 4-lane bridge in Jamaica. It will be about 150 meters long. And so this is just a start of construction. So what you can see over my shoulder is the work being done to install piles. So the bridge is actually on 5 piers, which are made out of pile structure, which is a circular concrete structure which goes down about 30 meters into the ground. And the piles will bring the bridge to the height of the old bridge. And in fact, the new bridge is actually much wider than the old bridge. So we expect that the new bridge will actually facilitate water flowing through. So the conditions that we had in about, when it was 1981, 86, when the approaches to the bridge was washed away, the approaches to the old bridge was washed away. We shouldn't have that conditions here because this new bridge will be wider than the old bridge.
We expect over the next few months to see an acceleration in the type of fill that happens as the contractor makes his way through the hills. We've pretty much established the embankment coming all the way from the start of project right here all the way up to the foothills of Manchester at St. Tullys. As you drive through the project, you'll notice that we've put a significant amount of fill on the ground or embankment where we're starting to actually get the levels for the actual road to be built. So currently that's what we're working on. We're working on drainage structures. You'll see culverts, what we call, underpasses in the first instance. You'll see culverts, corrugated steel pipes, HDPE, so plastic pipes going in to convey water from the north to the south of the highway.
Safety is paramount for any construction projects. And for safety, the contractor has first strike, where all workers, all operatives on the site adhere to safety requirements. You'll see signs about safety rules and guidelines. For this project, you'll see guidelines both in Chinese and in English. Workers need to have what we call the PPEs, personal protective equipment. You have your helmet, you have your high visibility vest, and you have your hard boot. So that once you're on the site, you can avoid accidents because things do happen. On the environmental side, the project before you commence have to get an environmental permit. And that has a number of stipulations. We have several conditions which speaks to management of the environmental issues.
We do noise and air quality monitoring along the highway construction. As you had seen earlier, we showed you 2 pieces of equipment we use. The noise meter, which essentially measures the noise over a 24-hour period, catching the levels every second. And based on that, then we look at the averages and compare it with the NEPA standard. That standard is recognized day and night, and we look to see if we are exceeding it. And if that's the case, then what needs to be done to bring it back down so that the persons around will be comfortable. In terms of the dust, the particulate sampler, which we had also shown, dust comes in at the top on a little mushroom looking thing that was on top of it, gets in on pre-weighed filters, and then that filter is taken back to the lab and weighed. The 24-hour reading is what we use to compare with the standard. The standard is 150 micrograms per cubic meter for 24 hour, which is the level. And we compare that with what's happening along the highway construction to see if there's any activity and if there's any elevation with the dust. If that's the case, then we'll recommend in terms of increased wetting and other mitigative actions.
But as you move beyond the Milk River, we are in very hilly terrain with limestone. So in order to excavate the rock, blasting is invariably required. For blasting to take place, the contractor has the responsibility of obtaining a license from the Department of Mines and Geology in order to undertake blasting activity. In Jamaica, a blast on this highway has a limit of what we call 25 ground acceleration motion, 25 millimeters per second, which is the limit. Which if you exceed that, then the blast is not safe and you can have damages to structures.
Quality control is a very important aspect for us on the highway. We have a very, very rigid quality assurance process. The contractor is expected to be certified both to AASHTO as well as to ISO for his works. What we do on the NROC side, with the assistance of our consultants, is to do the quality assurance. So the random checks to ensure that what the contractor is saying he has put in his quality plan is actually what he's doing.
So as part of CHEC's quality management system, it is imperative that we test the compaction for each layer of fill that is applied. We are testing at approximately 3,000 square meters, right? And we do our testing randomly. So what he did was, our technician, he bored the hole and then put the nuclear gauge inside it and the machine will demonstrate the percentage compaction. What we are looking for are readings above 95%, and I think he got far more than 95% there.
The communities are very integral in the project implementation because the highway goes through all these communities and we're impacting them. One of the things that has happened in the porous reefswood area is that some areas have no potable water, and as such we partner with the community, the local representatives, the contractor China Harbour to provide what we call black tanks, right? So that, and they're communal tanks. So these are placed along the roadside in the community, and water is provided from the contractor side every other week or twice a month. So that persons who don't have access to running potable water can come and access water from these tanks.
The primary thing that we'll see persons benefiting from is a travel time of approximately 40 minutes from Kingston to Mandeville. So I think that perhaps is maybe the most important thing that persons will see. We expect at the same time for the development to open up new developments, new areas, housing, business, etc.
The National Road Operating and Constructing Company, NROC, along with key stakeholders, are working tirelessly to unlock opportunities and create possibilities for government, businesses, families, people. You, me, us. A symbol of economic growth, extending logistical opportunities and taking spirited strides to improve on travel. A journey made possible by the National Road Operating and Constructing Company. Its length and breadth, its reach, its span. This is Highway 2000. We're still moving in the transport industry, but this time with those who are disadvantaged at the center of government's focus. Here's how our state-owned transportation operator is making public transportation accessible for the visually impaired.
From the fingers of political activist Helen Keller came this oft-repeated statement: "The worst thing is to be born sighted but lack vision." Among our people are many whose sight is impaired, making it more challenging to navigate the roads of our ever-changing national space. Over a decade ago, the state-owned bus company had the vision to recognize their need for a public transport system that is accommodating of all Jamaicans.
I lose my sight. It's going from 89 to totally blind. 2004. 89 when I check my sight. 5% in the left eye and 95 in the right eye. Everything goes 2004. Well, 2004, I was fretting on it. I hear about Society for the Blind, and Mrs. Wallace, who do the training, who train us to take the bus. Train us to go to transport center, walk on the road, walk between light posts, walk on the sidewalk. I prefer to take the JUTC. When I take the bus to the transport center, boy, the customer service is very nice. They ask you where you're going and then take you downstairs or upstairs and then put you on a seat to sit down. Sometimes they wait on you till the bus comes and put you inside the bus and tell the driver, where to let you off.
Since 2005, the JUTC began offering a disabled service, and we did so recognizing that there are other forms of transportation service or operators who do not provide a similar service to members of the disabled community. We recognize that they're an important part of the traveling community, and it is in fact incumbent on us, being a government-run entity, to provide such a service for those who may not otherwise be able to access private transportation services. Over the course of that period, we have also imported several units, several specially designed buses for persons with varying degrees of disability. We have a cadre of customer service representatives who have been introduced to a wide range of customer service related responsibilities and functions. In fact, 10 to 12 of them who are rostered weekly to provide critical care to members of the disabled community. Our customer service agents take them to and from the buses, and of course anywhere within the location of the Halfway Tree Transport Center. They also provide sanitary support for them.
I lost my sight last year, February. Taking the transport, sometimes I'm feeling excited. Sometimes, not all times. Because taking the transport, I can miss my steps. When crossing the road, sometimes I'm feeling down. Nervous, like can't wait to get over it. I can cross in the road, anything can hit me. So those things will run in my intention. Yeah, and hole can be there. And even though the cane will drop in the hole sometime, you can still do wrong things and drop same way. So them something always come up in my thought at all times. Crossing the road, taking the vehicle. And sometimes tears come at my eyes because the way how the person react, people will see me. Some of them will say, you're not blind. And you act like you're blind because your eyes don't look like you're blind.
Part of the training involves engaging the Disabilities Foundation to see how it is that we ought to care for members of the disabled community. So, for example, there is in fact a particular standard and protocol in which persons who are blind, for example, ought to be carried around.
One day I was at the bus stop. I took a bus 46 from downtown, and I asked tell the driver, I said, I'm going at Union Square Jug Serve. It was a woman driver, and believe you me, when the lady reached Jug Serve, she tapped the bus on the left side there and come out of the driver's seat and take me across the road right to the Jug Serve. I was so pleased, man. You have some nice driver.
The visually impaired individual is firstly someone with basic human rights, those shared by every other Jamaican. And while a disability-friendly transport system may not be on the list of basic human rights, as the JUTC recognizes, it is a critical part of ensuring that Jamaica is truly a place where everyone of every ability can live, work, raise families, and do business.
We're already on the roadways, so how about some developments happening in our transport industry? Developments that are fueling a better tomorrow for us and driving our country to that place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Here goes. Number 1, 2 buses for Lakovia High School. The St. Elizabeth-based institution has received a grant to purchase 2 school buses, providing easier, safer, and more cost-effective travel options for students. Number 2, the new e-ticketing system. The Jamaica Constabulary Force has rolled out its new Smart Check e-ticketing system, and it's designed to be a more efficient and accurate alternative to traditional written tickets. The system provides police officers with the ability to issue a printed ticket on the spot with information of the offense, fine, and court date. Number 3, ITA to introduce driver education program in high schools. The Island Traffic Authority is working in collaboration with the Ministry of Education to introduce a driver education program in high schools. This is intended to ensure that the proper driving techniques can be learned at an early age. We're about to hit parking mode right here because this is the point at which we're closing off today's show. Thanks for staying with us right to the end. Catch a repeat of this and other magazines, features, and news items on our YouTube channel. Also, visit the JIS's website, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for more information. From all of us here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry. See you soon.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.